Has this ever happened to you? You tune in to watch Saints Gaming compete at your favorite title, but you end up missing it. Scrolling through Twitter to find results is just such a chore, and it looks like there's no easy way to find out everything you've missed. Luckily, there's a solution. Hi, Millie Bays here, and I'd like to introduce you to St. Clair's Bird's Eye View, the #1 show to keep up with everything about Saints Gaming. Get weekly recaps, see great highlights, hear exclusive interviews with players and staff, and so much more. That's Bird's Eye View, available in podcast or video form at a website near you.
Head, and there he goes. Abyss gonna clean him up.
Olaf goes down. Everyone's just gonna line up here for Lazzy. He's gonna find himself the Quadra. Give it to him. Pentakill.
Priestley with the quad feet.
Gets the ace. Available, just spin to win all over.
That game was insane.
Oh boy, it's time to embrace the chaos that is playoff season. Welcome, Saints Nation, to NECC Overwatch playoffs. About to begin started in just a couple moments. Exciting matchup here for us tonight as we have Bryant and Stratton College up against St. Clair College. My name's Dan Banner, also known as Mr. Danners, joined by John Billabang Sedema once again here. How you doing, John?
Pretty good. I'm looking forward to it. The smell of playoff season is in the air, and I am loving it. We have a lot of titles entering into playoffs here. We saw earlier on in the week, we saw St. Clair playing in Rocket League and in Call of Duty for playoffs. Now we're going to see NECC playoffs for Overwatch. So I always love this because it's a lot more competitive. I feel like a lot of times in the regular season, we have a lot of those kind of lull weeks where there isn't really too much going on. You have just a lot of lopsided wins. But now that we're in playoffs, this is where it's going to get testy for all of these teams. This is where we're really going to see a lot of them put the pedal to the metal and see what they're made of.
Right, because, yeah, we would have, like, a bunch of stuff going on. But, yeah, like you were saying, some of them may have been, like, a little bit, like, lone notoriety, like lots of 3-0s, especially if you're following the Call of Duty scene and like Rocket League scene.
Big time.
There was a lot of 3-0s, unless it was like Rocket League and CRL, because then those were some solid matchups as well. That being said, though, like still a season full of tons of good games, and if there is one team, however, that did not have the consistent 3-0 treatment and the consistent sweeps, it is the Overwatch squad.
Yeah.
Bit of a like topsy-turvy kind of season there for them. Started off like a little bit rough, kind of picked it up in the middle, but then little bit of like hit and miss play during the later stages of the season as well. Of course, they didn't end up making it into the NACE playoffs because of it. However, by the skin of our teeth, able to get into NECC, and of course, with it being a single elimination bracket, anything could happen.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think I attribute a lot of that to the fact that we did lose nines earlier in the season. We had a role swap for Cheesy to go from healer to DPS. We had Yubel slotting into that healer position. So I think that kind of affected the team chemistry and how it worked out. Obviously, again, we talked about with our other teams, the subs do play a lot. They scrim a lot with the teams themselves. I mean, getting onto the stage is a whole different story altogether. And I think that does affect how you play. And I mean, they still made playoffs. They are 6th seed. And the team they're playing against today, the Bobcats, are 3 seeds. So Bobcats do have the advantage in that way, but it is single elimination. Anything can happen, and if St. Clair can step up at the right time, which is now, they can really make a footprint here in the beginning of these playoffs.
Yeah, and at least they had like a strong enough season that we don't have to go up against like Northwood first.
Yeah.
That would have been an absolute nightmare. Everybody could have been peaking like on cloud 9, and they still would have had an absolute run on their money if that was the situation. But that being said, though, Bryant Stratton, solid season in their own right, looking to take that higher seed and like push us to the limit here. With definitely the underdogs overall statistically, and we'll have to see because of course, yes, there was the roster shifts happening in the mid-season, but it took a little bit of time. But they kind of found their comfort now with Yubel being able to play some of the like playmaking kind of supports, like not necessarily the main healer, but like your things like your Lucios and whatnot, able to pick that up. And then Cheesy, you were mentioning it a little bit earlier, kind of like we started off on DPS, went to healer for like a week or two, and then back to DPS. And it's like, okay, that can definitely throw you off a little bit and explains a little bit of the like mid to late season woes. But now teams like stronger than ever, doing their damnedest to try and push this Bryant Stratton College squad to the limit in just a few moments' time.
Yeah, it should be an interesting one. I think, obviously, for me, having Ardrink as that solid main healer has been really, really good for St. Clair. It means they have that consistency. Playing mostly Baptiste, a little bit of the Ana here and there, but most of the time on that Baptiste, it gives whoever else is slotting into that healer position, now Yubel, kind of that flexibility to play, whether you want to play Lucio or Mercy for something like a Pharmacy. You're able to do that, and they can slip into that position however they need to. And I mean, looking into this game, I really do want to see St. Clair step it up. I think there has been some consistency issues with them throughout the latter part of this season, and I'm really looking for them to try and take a step up because we saw against Northwood, against Bay State, it was just solid 3-0s. There wasn't really a lot of resistance put up, and I mean, Bobcats are 3rd seed, so they're just underneath those two prestigious teams. So it's definitely going to be a challenge, but it's one that I think St. Clair can take on. And, I mean, you're going to have to get past these really good teams to make it further into playoffs. So this is your time. It's single elimination. You have to win this or else you're going home. And this is where St. Clair really needs to find their footing and be able to take this one.
And a lot of it, I feel like, is going to rely on the few members, on the few roles that were consistent completely throughout the whole season, which, of course, was the tank line of Apostle and G-Scales, as well as available on DPS. And more often than not, like, not the hit scan, but like the playmaking kind of DPS. I keep thinking of like his May, for example, especially whenever we had to go to like King's Row or something like that. His ice walls might as well have been an ultimate on like a 12-second cooldown because it was just so valuable. But at the same time, like for the few times that it was off, like you definitely felt it. But for the most part, like Bale's been doing a solid job in regards to separating teams and allowing for the tank line and the rest of the team to just kind of pile damage on whoever gets separated away. And then Apostle and G-Scales, I mean, they've been just basically like solid all season long. Apostle like and G-Scales, I can't ever like really think of an opportunity where like something like was misplayed. G-Scales just quietly does his thing. He's usually on his diva or something like that, just gobbling up projectiles, doing what he like needs to be doing, stealing some ultimates here and there, which is always awesome. And Apostle just leading the charge, whether it be the Winston or the Reinhardt or like something else of that matter, but just being the solid wall that the Saints need to hide behind.
Yeah, and I think for me, looking at how the season went overall, I think midway through the season was really when G-Scales was popping up. He had a lot of good self-destruction. I think he was meshing really well, and he was finding those anti-ultimates, we'll call them, that G-Scales was absorbing into the deflector shield. I feel like second half of the season wasn't really having that many flashy plays. It was definitely still a solid team player, but wasn't as obvious of a carry later on compared to the middle of the season. So I think for me, going into playoffs, this is really going to be an important time for the off tank. Right now, I think that off tank position is very, very strong in this meta, and I'm definitely looking for GCLs to step up because Apostle has been so good for me. He's been such a solid main tank for them. I think that off tank role is really going to make a huge difference because we've seen a lot of these higher seeded teams like Northern and Bay State. They can fall back when it seems like their plays aren't really working out. They can fall back on the hit scans, such as the Widowmaker or the Hanzo or the McCree, or Cole Cassidy, as we now call him, to try and find those headshots. So it is really important to find the off tank able to get into the back line and disrupt what they want to do without dying themselves for it. And I think that's why I'm looking for GCLs to try and step up here against the Bobcats.
Well, in the season finale that we did see last week there when the Saints had to go up against Bay State, we seen exactly what would happen when the off tank gets enough space and enough room to go absolutely nuts. Because
that wrecking ball, nightmares.
The wrecking ball, and then they even threw the Roadhog out there, right? Yeah. And like time and time again, I think I was making a joke on Cass. It's like, what on earth is his hook accuracy? Because just every single time it felt like that the player threw it out, hook, kill, done, easy peasy. That team fight is basically won right there as long as you can follow through front to back. So, like, the off tank could definitely have impact if it does allow so. Of course, with G-Scale specifically, it's been more of the defensive off tank overall.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
We'll have to see if he can get a little bit of offense in moving forward.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that we haven't really seen a lot of pharmacy out of St. Clair this season.
No, not at all, really.
And, I mean, I do attribute that to the fact that we were talking about earlier, with the fact that they have very, very good hit scan players. And if you have a good enough hit scan player, pharmacy really isn't that relevant because she does get shot out of the sky pretty easily. So I think looking forward, I do want to see them kind of flex that option if we end up getting a lot of these off tanks such as the Roadhog that can't really get access to those pharmacy players. So I think I want to see that at St. Clair at least have the option, because they haven't really showed it throughout the season. So when you don't have that option to move to, I think that kind of affects how the other team plays around it, because if they know that they aren't willing to play this, that means you can just go for an open season, go for more of a brawly team comp and give yourself an advantage, because you don't have to have that worry about that high DPS comp that St. Clair might want to pull out.
Absolutely. Like, just to kind of on top of that, yeah, we've like maybe seen pharmacy maybe on one occasion at that, but otherwise Saints have been a very grounded like DPS kind of style. There has been a little bit of echo played with the Mercy, but even then it's like very, very like map specific, if anything. And if your opponent does catch on that, okay, St. Clair, they just like to stick to the ground and whatnot, who says they don't just whip out Junkrat and just start spamming stuff into your shields and into the team, right? Because you know that they're not going to have any sort of aerial protection, which could definitely be detrimental.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to pop into a quick break here, just waiting for the last couple members to roll into the lobby, and we'll be back in a few minutes with some NECC League of or playoff action with St. Clair Saints.
All right, thanks for sticking with us here, Saints Nation. We are finally just about to get underway with Lijiang Tower as our first map here in this NECC playoff best of 5 between St. Clair College and Bryant and Stratton. And unfortunately, it looks like we already had somebody get disconnected here. So it's just going to be a couple more moments here to get on through. Looks like Cheesy unfortunately got the boot in that regard. So things not necessarily falling into place in regards to timing, to say the least. But of course, still players getting ready to hop into the action very, very shortly. But I guess just to kind of recap again, Bryant Stratton, 3rd seed. We're sitting in the 6th, technically the underdog. But that being said, still a good match ahead of us.
Collegiate video games and internet issues. What better duo is there?
I mean, at least it isn't the case where the players are stuck playing at home and they have
That's true.
no internet. Everybody
That's
else
true.
is just sitting there waiting. It's like,
Or they're at 15,000 ping.
oh, you mean like having what was it, the Lupo, where he was top ranking with over 1,000 ping?
Oh.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting day there
That was funny.
on the Valorant broadcast. But of course, different game, different time here, and we see how it looks like a little bit of a PC restart here for G Scales, from what I'm being told. So just a couple more moments. Actually, that was a little bit quicker than expected. There we go. So game number 1 on Lijiang. I feel like this has been a rather commonplace one as of late.
Yeah, and I feel like St. Clair has had a bit of success with this one, but a lot of time they do struggle. I feel like to cover both gates properly, they tend to float towards one side and leave one open. It opens a lot of flanks for the other team, so they are going to make sure they have to watch both the bridge and the hut on the outside to get in, because that is really going to make a huge difference here. It is going to be their first playoff game. It is a best of 5, so there is many chances for these teams to make a comeback, and to sweep a series would be very, very tough for either of these teams. I definitely think my prediction in this one is going to have to be Bryant Stratton College favored, but I definitely think it's still going to be a 3-1 or 3-2 series. That's going to be close.
Absolutely. Your starting lineups here for both squads. This time, our opponents, Bryant and Stratton College, on the tank line, we have OBL and Cyber. DPS, we got Everlong and Slater. And Injustice and Set going to be holding the fort for the supports. Meanwhile, St. Clair, you know them at this point. The main squad coming in clutch here. We got Apostle and G-Scales on tank. Cheesy and available for DPS. Evil and Archon on support.
Yeah, and Cheesy goes down very, very early, but does get traded out there for Cyber. So both teams have 5 apiece now here. The Wrecking Ball are very interesting here. Apostle, we haven't seen his Wrecking Ball too much this season, but he does go down very early. Everlong going to take care of him. Ooh, he's going to get available as well. G-Scale's going to get Slater off the edge, though. But it does mean that it will go in Bryant Stratton College's favorite. So that Reaper early was very, very strong against what St. Clair had to offer, and did get a couple early picks and gave Bryant and Stratton College this objective very early on.
I mean, if Bryant and Stratton did their homework and realized that Saints almost always do a symmetric teleport play at the beginning, having the Reaper to just show up with the 2 shotguns was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, for sure. And we did see the swap over to Tracer there to try and help them out, but it didn't really work. But Apostle does get Cyber again, so the Winston going down a second time very early on. OBL going to be popped out of the mech there. Zenyatta Transcendent's going to come through as well. And St. Clair going to try and push through. Everlong goes down. A nice headshot there by Cheesy. They will force them off this point. So St. Clair going to claim this one. A couple ults available as well, and this is definitely some momentum in their favor.
Yeah, the healing there from Arjunk's Transcendence is just enough for the Saints to hold W and just take care of everybody over and over again. To the point now where Saints had 3 ults available. It does look like Babel did fire off the Pulse Bomb as a extra staggering attempt, but now taking a look at Bryant and Stratton, 2 ults on deck here. That EMP is going to be possibly huge, and that's a 4-player EMP.
Yeah, it did get stunned up there, but Slayer didn't end up going down after a stun. Self-destruct can come out as well. Not going to catch anyone, though. Arjunk is going to get Everlong, so the Reaper going down again here. Cyber going to have to hop out a point. It looks like St. Clair going to push him back yet again to be able to hold this point.
Everlong went down as he was firing off his Death Blossom, so such a high-value ultimate just getting completely taken away pretty much with no value. Solid defense here for the side of St. Clair. Bryant and Stratton are only going to have the defensive ultimate from Injustice's Lucio, and then OBL will have the Diva Bomb, but that's pretty hit or miss on this map.
Deadeye going to come out here. We'll see. He's going to hold it here for a while. That's going to be a stun off the edge, though. He will get a pick there, so Cheesy going down very early, but will be traded for Set here. So again, both teams getting small advantages. Cyber still with the ult activated will finally go down here. Hacks coming through. Cyber finds another. This is going pretty heavily in Bryant and Stratton's favor here. There will be a self-destruct coming down yet again here. Not going to find anyone, though. Oh, Will actually available. Going to go down there. Will remech. That's going to be Bryant and Stratton trying to clean everyone else off the point here. Apostle going to go down in just a second. No, he's going to live, actually. And St. Clair extending this. They're trying to push to 99.
They are just stalling this as best as they possibly can. They're finally going to end up going down, it looks like, Cheesy, the first line of defense, probably not going to be tanky enough to handle that one. But that point should have, in theory, been flipped over at like 60. But now they're almost at 80. So honestly, good on them to get some extra points in for this next push.
Yeah, for sure. We haven't really seen any changes here. We did see the Yubel going to the Brigitte now, so a slight change there. But otherwise, everyone else has pretty much stayed on the same heroes throughout this one. So interesting. There hasn't really been a lot of spots. I think both teams like where they're at. Transcendent's going to come through. Slater going to go down very, very early, and that will mean a pick for St. Clair. They're going to push through. They're going to get Cyber as well. Apostle going to fall off the edge. Then Justice going to follow him down there. Cheesy going down to the Reaper, but he will be taken off point. And St. Clair going to claim this one again, and they could try and take this point as soon as they clear everyone off.
Yeah, just got to deal with the Diva, and there they go. They'll be able to take care of this nice and quick. G-Scale's pulling back to help peel off for the supports and keep them safe in regards to Everlong's Reaper. Really keeping them in the fight here and allowing them to capture that point. So now, one final last-ditch effort here for Bryant and Stratton to try and take the win here in round one. They need to flip this fast. There's the MP.
This is going to be a huge fight here. Rage will come out from this Monkey. Cyber trying to find as many people as he can. Does find Arjunk, and he's going to get Yubel off the edge too. Baleful finds one with the bomb, but that's not going to matter when everyone else from St. Clair is already done. But they get the point! A C9 there for Bryant and Stratton, and St. Clair take the first point in this one.
Okay, whether that was calculated or not, I have no idea, but the fact that the Saints took that fight on the building on the opposite side of the map, of the capture point itself, even though they were arguably losing that fight, they weren't in position to hop over and actually capture the point.
Yeah, I
and
think
get that
actually
overtime tick.
What happened there was Lucio was left on the point, like it just was on the point, and
Okay.
Baleful found him with the bomb right at the end. So he got him just before the, I think it's 5% mark, whatever it is,
Yep.
to force the overtime. And so they didn't actually get that overtime activated because it was a really well-placed bomb by Baleful. So all shout out to him, really good play there. And St. Clair going to take this first round and getting some momentum going here to start us off.
A game of inches sometimes can be the way we play here in Overwatch, and this time we get to see Apostle up on the Reinhardt. The Trident remain for the most part, but he's absolutely getting shredded here. He's going to need a lot of backup from the support line to stay alive.
Yeah, Baptiste coming out for both main healers here. Definitely a necessity on this map. There is so much close quarters combat. You need that immortality field to keep your team alive here. And Baleful on the Junkrat is doing quite a bit of damage with Doomfist coming out here as well. So a lot of changes across the board for both of these teams because, I mean, it is a very different map. They're playing here Everlong, and they get the first pick on Apostle, though, and this could be a cascade for them to try and take this first point.
Yeah, they even had the Shatter on top of it. That is going to seal the deal. Cyber with a wonderful double, and the rest of the Bryant Stratton squad coming through and getting the first capture here. So even though, like, in terms of AoE damage, like, we had Baleful on the Junkrat, which in theory should have been doing a little bit more, and he was getting some good shots, don't get me wrong. But the pick-off potential here from Everlong, Symmetra, and the Doomfist from Slater, alongside the rest of the squad, of course, from Bryant Stratton, just seems to overpower Saints this time by.
The key here now, though, is that there will be 4 ults available for St. Clair. And,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, other than the Symmetra, there's not really anyone else close to the ult there for the side of Bryant and Stratton. So I think this push, if they can get a little bit extra damage off here. Ooh, he's going close, going down. Shatter going to come through. Going to find 3, a massive Shatter. That's going to be a double tire kill for Available. He's going to find 1, but there's a couple picks for Slater here. Traviton going to come through for this tank here, and they will find it, so they will flip the point here in just a second. Self-Destruct going to come out there. Won't catch anyone, though, and that will be a point flipped here as soon as this Doomfist gets taken down. But no, he finds another pick. Gonna force G-Scales off point. That is huge that Doomfist is still alive and able to keep him off that for so long.
Holy smokes, Slater just saved the point here for the side of Bryant Stratton. Saints are slowly going to be able to stop the trickling here, but again, another spot where that should have been probably turned over like 35%, and they're now sitting at almost 60. So beautifully done there from Slater and the rest of the squad over at Bryant Stratton. But now Saints are in a very, like, aggressive positioning. They're actually going to have to fall back here. Not everybody's available, and they have to be careful. That's a really fast-coming Bryant and Stratton squad.
That's going to be an early window out here from the side of from the side of Bryant and Stratton, trying to find anyone they can. That's going to be Lucio bounce as well. Going to try and find anyone, but not going to catch them all. So it is still going to be 6-on-6. Arjun going to take the Immortality field. Ooh, barely staying alive there for Apostle. That's going to be a couple ults used as well. A lot of fighting on point, but Apostle going to go down very, very early. Shatter going to find nobody there, but G-Scale's going to go down here in just a second. And that's going to be Bryant and Stratton cleaning up everybody else on this point. Available still alive here, trying to get as many kills as he can, but he can't really find anybody. Point will flip back over to Bryant and Stratton's favor.
I was thinking about would there be a last second like tire attempts, but fair enough. The rest of the Saints were all falling. Save it for the next fight. When in doubt, just save it for the next fight, unless obviously time's not on your side. But as of right now, still a little bit of time in this one. Bryant Stratton just passing the 70% mark here. Maybe 1-2 more pushes if we're lucky, but it's going to be keep an eye on that rip tire.
Yeah, I think the Shatter's going to be huge here, too, as soon as Apostle's going to blow this one up. He's a little more damage, finds the Shatter. It's available. That's going to be an all coming through, though. Window, or Wall going to find some. Not going to catch anyone, though. Doofus Skull can come through, going to find Arjun available. Another double tire kill here. Yubel going to get one as well. Still traded out, though. A lot of kills going across here for Bryant and Stratton. They're going to try and push onto this point here in just a second. It is now 2v2. Available going to get a decent amount of damage. This is going to be close. They will get the touch on point here in just a second. If Yubel can touch it, will he get it? Yes, he will. They'll go to OT, but he's going to be able to clear these people off point. Can anyone get back to this one? Overtime ticking, ticking, ticking. And that's going to be the end. 1-1 the score, and we're going to go to a map number 3.
All right, so close quarters combat kind of going in the favor of Bryant and Stratton this time by, as they were just able to make those picks really, really happen. And even though Saints were still finding some rather decent value with their ultimates, I liked what they were doing with the Flux plus the Rip Tire. And Bayable was able to consistently find himself some double kills with it, while also dishing out a bunch of damage with just the grenade launcher itself. But just the burst damage was too much there from Bryant and Stratton. So going to be going down all the way until the final round of this first game. Going to be a close one.
Yeah, and I really think, I like how both maps, the DPS really shine. We saw Available at the end. The first map got that pick onto Injustice, and that really sealed them the deal on that one. And this one we saw Slater delaying that point for so long. It robbed them of 30-40%. The fact that he was able to stay on there. And I mean, game 3, I'm looking for one of these two to step up, and that's going to be St. Clair already on this point and getting 3 early picks. Cheesy going to find another onto Slater, the Doomfist, beating out that Doomfist. That's going to be St. Clair claiming this one early.
All right, I guess it must have just been a wise pick for that first round there, because this time Saints are going to pull out the Symmetra once again, and they absolutely body Bryant and Stratton on this first initial setup. Just being able to teleport in like that, set up your turrets, and then force them to push through it, that was just absolutely disgusting coming out of some Bales and the rest of the Saints.
This is going to be a nightmare for Pulse here, though. You have a May Reaper coming through now for Bryant and Stratton. That tank line is going to be shredded so fast. We're going to need to see a lot of damage coming out from Available and Cheesy here. Try and keep them alive. Slater going to find a headshot on Available, though, to start us off. That's really not good. They're going to try and preserve this point for as long as possible, but a collapse here onto the point. Shatter going to find 2, though. Cyber going to pick up 2 swings with his hammer. Going to find 2 people. Cyber with the charge onto G-Scales as well, and that's going to be point flipped after just about 30%.
That's the absolute heartbreaker there. We just saw with Arjunk. You're on the other side of the wall. You know your team is falling, but you can't get through it. You could only just pepper that wall and hope it goes down. But, of course, the support damage is just not there to break down that ice wall. So Bryant Stratton off of that. Going to stop St. Clair at 27% currently and start building some for themselves.
Yeah, and I'm really surprised here we're not seeing a Pharmacy, because against this team comp specifically, Pharmacy would be so effective. You don't really have that long range engage that you need to fight against something like Pharmacy. G-Scales is going to find the ult here, though. We'll try and make some room for himself, but 2 members already down here for St. Clair very, very early. Does mean they're going to try and force onto this point. That's going to be a beat coming down. Cheesy going to find Slater as well, but G-Scales is going to pop himself off the edge here, and it will force them back off this point. So in the end, just 1 ult used there to keep that point alive for Bryant and Stratton.
This is incredibly out of characteristic here for St. Clair, and I'm curious as to why. We do not oftentimes see a double main tank style, but for a little while there, we had both Winston and Reinhardt on the side of St. Clair. G-Scales, I've never really seen him play Winston. Did have an okay Primal Rage, but that's going to be a huge bunny shatter.
That's a huge shatter there. Stick going to find one as well, but Everlong with 2 kills on that Reaper is a huge answer back here. Arjun going to find him on the backside, trying to take out this May too, the healer, trying to get some kills, but no, he's going to get found out here. Will be taken down. That's going to be 70% now for Bryant and Stratton, and this is going to be really rough. Just 1 ult for Yubel, the only one left for St. Clair to try and take this map back.
It's like, okay, you have your answer for Slater's Blizzard, but what about everything else that Bryant and Stratton are about to throw at you? Positioning in BSC's favor, as well as the ult economy, Saints are on an uphill climb to try and get themselves this game 1 win.
Available, swapping off to the Reaper here, seeing what it can do. Cheesy going to find Slater early on. Flash going to come through. OBL going to take out Cheesy, going to trade. Oh, he's going to get pinned. Going to stay alive, though, somehow. Also going to get Injustice with a pin of his own. Available going to clean up Everlong here. And St. Clair in overtime are going to claim it back. They're going to have to hold this for quite a while, but it's definitely doable as soon as they clean off Gel on point.
I was giving BSC the props in the last couple of rounds for just having the burst damage to deal with St. Clair, but this time with Bale switching over to the Reaper and the absolute clutch sound barrier coming out from Yubel, saving the life of Bale even though he was caught up in the Cyber's Reinhardt charge, kept the Saints in this, and now they have 2 more ultimates to try and keep this fight.
Self-destruct going to come through early, see if we find anyone. Just going to take out the Immortality field here. Blizzard going to come through, though. Going to catch a lot of members from St. Clair. Everlong going to take out Apostle very, very early. Deadeye going to come through. Not going to catch anyone, though, with it. Everlong is going to take out Apostle in the end, and that's going to be just 2 members left here for St. Clair to try and push back onto this. They will let point flip over here in just a second. Overtime being put through. Yubo knocks one over the edge, but can they get back on this point to keep this overtime going? Yes, they will. Flash going to come through. Cheesy going to find one here. Apostle on the Wrecking Ball, creating quite a lot of space here. Going to get another kill, actually, here. Can they turn this one around? Going to force him out of point. Overtime still through. Ping going to find Apostle here.
Cheesy's still there.
Will go down, but Cheesy's still on this point. Available back on the Tracer. Trying to keep this one alive. Just 2 tanks here on point. This is going to be so much damage here. Can they end up forcing these 2 tanks off site before the healers come back through? Yubo going to find Cyber, but Cheesy going to take it down. In the meantime, they will keep this overtime rolling. Holy smokes. Can they keep it going? No. Bryant and Stratton cleared them off, and that's going to be a 2-1. BSC Bobcats take map number 1 in a banger.
Holy smokes, that was definitely close, but Bryant and Stratton going to get the better of the Saints in this one. Absolutely brutal here. Cyber going to get credited here with the play of the game. I'm going to guess it's that money shatter just outside the corner, and we'll see in just a second. Answers shatter for shatter. There is one of them. Not the one I was expecting, but still a beautiful play in its own right. One of many solid plays coming out of the side of BSC to give them the win here in game number 1. But of course, with this being best of 5, we still have plenty more action here to come in this NECC playoff matchup.
Yeah, I definitely think it was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Again, I have to go back to the fact that you're not playing the pharmacy into this comp, and I think it would have been very effective. But, I mean, regardless, St. Clair still fighting back pretty well. They got up to 60%, almost 70% on that last point. They did take that first map pretty handily, and I really think that looking forward, this matchup is going to be a lot closer than originally thought. I think even that second map was still very, very competitive. I think St. Clair definitely had a chance to take it at multiple times. And, I mean, it's a pretty even matchup so far in what I've seen. I like what the DPS is showing up, though. Both, I think, Bailable and Cheesy have been looked really, really good, gotten essential picks here. And on the other side, too, I think the May Reaper combo was really, really powerful. And, I mean, right now, 1-0 for Bobcats, but this could go anyway.
Absolutely, especially with a couple of different game modes up ahead of us here. Going to get the confirmation of what exactly we're going to next in just a few moments. But I'm just thinking of if, say, the pharmacy combo or the Echo Mercy or something ended up coming out here on that map specifically. I feel like poking from the outside when you do, or when you don't have control of the point, is actually really effective. But when you actually have control of the point, I'm curious as if it would have the same effectiveness there. But that being said, it's just not been a combo that we've really seen from the Saints all season long, and it does let some of these high burst damage grounded combos like we saw from BSC really run amok. Because if he had somebody up in the skies, what's a Reaper shotgun going to do to a Pharah up in, or an Echo all the way up in the air, right? So definitely something that very well could come into consideration later on in this series as well. We'll have to see if the Saints maybe think about making a couple swap ups, but it's also map dependent, and we just got to see where we're going next. Yeah,
I think the one thing too with the pharmacy is if you have a Baptiste on the other side, it is very hard to actually access that immortality field when you're playing with that poke on the outside with the pharmacy. So I think that may be a factor as well, because he's kind of just getting free healing as long as you're on the outside just poking. So that could be a factor. I think it's also the fact that you have the May Reaper. So if you can get control of that point, yes, the poke damage will be effective, but it's hard to really all in that, especially when you have a diva on the other side. So that might be a reason too why they want lane lock. So map 2 is going to be King's Row.
Okay.
And St. Clair, I feel like, have had a lot of strong performances on King's Row, but they seem to really struggle when they can't get control of that first point. So I definitely think, for me, if they can get past that, if they can take this first objective and get that card moving, that's really going to be a difference maker, and that's where they're going to have to try and push forward. Because if they can't get that first point, I really think they're going to struggle to on the defensive side, and that's going to be their downfall.
Yeah, the way it seemed like it's been for the most of the NECC season is that they would get that first point on the last or the second to last push, to the point where they've just completely milked their time bank pretty well dry. Usually then giving them say 2 minutes or so to try and go through the streets phase, and then one of two things would happen. Either they get caught in the middle and it just kind of gets stuck there like it did versus Bay State, or they just fly through that section like it's nobody's business and they barely blow a minute. There's no in between. It's just basically been that way. And then majority of our Kings Row matches, we do see kind of finish on the doorsteps right after the initial S's at the very end of the map. But just one of those maps where, I guess, Saints like it, but pretty much the entire community likes it. So can we really call this our map? I don't think so much anymore. It is still Saints Row in my heart, but at the same time, I feel like at the same time, everybody basically likes this map.
I think it's a very popular map for a lot of teams. It's definitely it's one of the original maps that people have been playing on forever. So a lot of people, it's very easy to remember how to play around it and what the strats are on it. And it'll be really interesting for me to see what St. Clair decide to do here, because it's definitely not it can be used for a hit scan, and I definitely expect Cheesy to be on the Cole Cassidy trying to find picks here, but I definitely think it's not as hit scan favored as some of the other maps.
I mean, we have seen aerial combos work well on this map as well. I don't know if either team wants to end up taking it in this case here, but whether it be Echo or whether it be Farah, there's lots of tall buildings and statues and trees and all sorts of foliage for you to actually kind of hide behind from some of these hit scan players. But yes, at the same time though, this is also a very fun map for your double sniper compositions, which would absolutely counteract the aerial combos. So it's going to be a little bit of mind games to see what everybody picks up here. As of right now, we have a little bit of indecisiveness almost out of the composition from Bryant and Stratton. Slater wants to go in. We have a Genji here. But meanwhile, Everlong's thinking about sniping alongside the Hanzo. But then Justice's Mercy like completely counteracts what both of them are doing. This makes more sense to me now. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're in spawn, so they can change up their composition, see what works for them, see what they want to do. But looks like you could run with the Nano Genji. I think obviously it is kind of a staple of high-level Overwatch, is getting that Nano Genji up, being able to shred through the entire enemy backline and then move on to that point with the rest of your team. So it's definitely something we've seen time and time again, especially with that Zarya could be very, very effective.
Meanwhile, on the side of St. Clair, we do have pretty much tried and true combo here for Kings Row with our Sigma and Reinhardt front line alongside the ice wall, with Baleable going to be trying to hold the front line, to say the least here. Try and separate him off, and honestly, good on Cyber. As soon as that ice wall separated him, he just jumped right back over.
Yeah, for sure. Smart move there. He knows he can cut out. G-Scale's going to find the first pick here onto Slater, though, so looks like they will be forcing him back out here. Everlong going to find Apostle with the Storm Arrows, though, so an answer back. They will be pretty weak here. G-Scale's going to find another pick, but OBL going to answer it back here, so team's going blow for blow here to start us off.
Yeah, we're getting basically point blank there with the Hanzo, but oddly enough, it's going to be OBL possibly charged up and ready to rock here on this one. Every single kill that goes down on the side of St. Clair is so much more valuable for BSC because Saints have so far to run back here. People might have to even consider like maybe running back and trying to speed boost some of his teammates back into this, because as we see right now, BSC moving in for possibly a little bit of percent on that.
Oh, Cheesy goes down there to Everlong, though. That is very, very dangerous. That's already going to be an ultimate here. A Blizzard coming out onto this point to try and stall it for a little bit here to keep everyone else off of that one. Apostle going to find one, but a couple of answers here for Bryant and Stratton, and no one left here on point. Does mean they will be able to make some decent progress. They might even be able to take this to start us off.
Yeah, I don't know if there's going to be anybody available anywhere near soon. They all basically went down at different times, meaning that it would have just been basically a trickle fest. Maybe one last-ditch effort. Nope, they're going to end up letting this slide here. Apostle not going to dive on in, which is fair enough. 5 minutes on the clock now for BSC to try and make it all the way through the streets.
Yeah, and there was actually a team-wide change of heroes. Almost everybody swapped it up here except for Cheesy. So now you see all the ultimate economy is reset here. And on the other side for Ryan and Stratton, you see 2 members have their ults, 2 more members at about 90%. So they're going to have a lot more ult economy available here. And I think, obviously, the second point here is pretty much a given almost for the attackers. It's very, very hard to defend that one. It is going to come down to that last final point. Ooh, Cyber finds our jump, though, early. OBL getting Ubel as well. Cheesy going to find one with the Dragon, though. A good pick there, but Injustice going to take Available, and the infiltration will go down. That's going to be just pushed off for a moment. Apostle trying to run away here, save his life for the moment, but St. Clair, the defense is stopped, and they will push that cart forward.
Well, I mean, at least Bryant Stratton, they only used like the 2 ultimates there, just Cyber and Slater's, and there's still so much on deck as well, including the classic Grab Dragon combo from OBL and Everlong, and that's one thing I'm happy kind of to see that Cheesy did switch out, because that Hanzo did not have any combo pieces.
Yeah, Cyber does get anti here, but he will barely survive in the backline. Available, trying to do some damage. Will have to back up. Cyber going to find 2 really early punch, and Elite going to find picks onto the backline of St. Clair here. No healers available, so it does mean They're going to have to back up. This point will be taken here in just a second. As soon as they can get that wrecking ball off of it, yeah, they will. So they will end up getting that, and they will push their time forward even more.
Okay, comboing up a couple pieces. Even if it wasn't necessarily a direct hit, they were still able to find enough value to just swing the fight. And the fact that Cyber is just jumping in there essentially by himself and just having enough follow-up damage with everybody else too to just get these really early picks is just absolutely swinging these fights before they even get the opportunity to get started. 2 points now on the board, and we have a Nano Monkey.
That's going to be a very strong Winston here. Everlong going to find 2 on the backside available. Going to get the bomb on the set. Diana going to go down here. Wrecking Ball with the ult available as well. Apostle looking to try to set that one down on point, but OBL meanwhile does get G-Scale. Slater going to find Cheesy in the back line as well, and this is just Bryant and Stratton smurfing all over St. Clair for the start of this one. 4 minutes remaining here, and they're almost pushing this to the end.
And Baleable getting taken down as well, like moments after the fights actually even happened, means this is going to be a 5-on-6 for this initial moment of possibly the final push if they can keep this up. G-Scale's going point blank here with the DPS. Might be able to find himself an elimination if he's lucky. Not quite. Apostle, however, and Baleable looking to get some other eliminations.
Apostle did find Injustice there with the ultimate, so we'll force them to back off here. Baleable going to find Cypher on the swap over the Doomfist here. So Arjun going to take OBL, and they will back off here. All still available for a lot of members of Bryant and Stratton here, and the next push will be very key. If G-Scales can get a big self-destruct and force them off the point, I think that'll help them out a lot. But if he ends up messing up on that self-destruct, I think all these ults going to come from Bryant and Stratton. I don't know if St. Clair can defend it.
Yeah, this is going to be absolutely brutal here. But like we were talking about, it's probably going to wait for OBL to have the grab to at least use the Dragon. But we could still very well see the Winston and the Genji just dive on through, or just straight up get eliminations before it even ends up happening and Justice get on the board.
They will get a pick here. Slater going to go down, though, to G-Scales. Everlong going to get a pulse before he can slam down, though. Self-destruct still for G-Scales here. Dragon going to come through. Not going to catch anyone, though. It's just going to be on the outside there to try and push them off here. Self-destruct going to come through. We'll see if it catches anyone, though. No, Shield's going to come out. Nice job by the Zarya to keep the rest of her teammates alive there and keep herself alive. Going to get a lot of charge here, but still no progress being made. Rav going to come through. Catches a lot of members. Dragon going to come through as well. How many can it find? Nobody. A beautiful Transcendence by Arjunk there. Going to keep his team alive, and they will stop this push, at least for the moment.
Yeah, some desperation kind of coming out here from BSC, but that being said, they are finding themselves on the right side of kill feed as of right now. Cyber with another double.
They will clean up everybody here. Just a couple members of St. Clair left alive. That's going to be it taken down. They will have 219 left here and 3 points. So pretty solid push by Bryant and Stratton, and now St. Clair looking to answer.
Yes. Like, honestly, that very well could have gotten turned. Bryant and Stratton, when I saw, like, the save from, it would have been OBL. The save with the shields to stop the Diva Bomb, that was quite nice. It's like, okay, now this is your opportunity to back up. Wait, you threw the grab in? Like, why? That seems like a bit of an overextension. I thought the Saints could have, like, just dodged it out, and I did like the save there from Arjunk there for the Transcendence. That was absolutely clutch, making it so that the Genji there from Slater was not able to get much damage. But that being said, the following fight after the fact, Saints just got melted once again, and now BSC need a solid defense, put themselves up possibly 2-0 here, or Saints need to find a way to tie this up.
Yeah, one thing I did see, though, that I don't know if I really liked from St. Clair was the fact that they're using Doomfist and Tracer into a Brigitte, right? Like,
that's dangerous.
It's so hard because there are so many times where Baleable will get access to the backline and you get some chip damage down, but he wasn't really able to get those picks, and then he gets stunned up by Injustice and gets taken down immediately on the backline.
Absolutely.
So I really feel like they had to maybe go with like a Junkrat there or something different. I really just feel like the Tracer wasn't as effective because they had that Brigitte answer. So I would have liked to see maybe a swap there into something different. But I mean, still a pretty okay defense, but they are going to have to push this pretty hard here to try and match with Bryant and Stratton's time.
Back in my old ranked days, I would just insta-lock Brigitte and love when Tracers tried to dive me because it would never work out in their favor. But similar thing happening here from Injustice, really making that pick work for him as of right now. Saints looking for a relatively divey composition as well. Cheesy the only thing with a little bit of long range to him. But Bale nearly get himself in trouble.
Gonna stay alive here. Will come back. Oh, Cheesy gonna find the pick on the Everlong here. So a solid start. They will have to try and turn this into an advantage though on the point here sometime soon. The Wrecking Ball just waiting in the wings. They have Slater on the backside with this Ashe raining terror down now. Cyber getting down pretty low. They will start some progress on the point though. Set gonna find Jubal, and that's something to stop. And now that the Tracer will finally make their way back onto this point, I feel like St. Clair gonna have to respect that and have to regroup when Jubal comes back.
it's interesting seeing both teams actually really having a lot of value on that Zenyatta pick, because normally it being like, yes, a high damaging support, but at the same time kind of squishy, and we're going to see it right here as Apostle tries to dive on the set and is actually going to go down. Apostle with the follow-up though, or not be able to follow up.
They do find the trade there. It is going to be 5-5. Trade's going to come out across the board as well. 2 more going to be found for both sides. A little bit of damage in this corridor here being put down. G-Scale's going to find Injustice as well, but Dynamite got bailable there, so both teams suffering quite big losses. G-Scale is going to find a pair for himself. They will start progress onto this point here, but Ash still available. She will get some chip damage down. Can they get back to this point in time?
All right, so I guess the positioning there from Bryant and Stratton just completely missing in this situation, but it looks like they're not done at this point just quite yet.
Tracer just trying to stop any progress she can, but no, it will be given up here, and St. Clair will claim it and start the push.
Okay, so not too bad. Took like a push and a half, but they got it taken care of. So almost 5 minutes, which is basically what Bryant and Stratton had going into it. So relatively even pacing, but a nice little start there from Slater. Just to slow us down a little bit more, but still a bit of a back and forth going through here.
Yeah, and they do get these picks here, which is, I mean, obviously it is right at their spawn, which makes it easier, but the problem is teams have a very, very tough time getting out of their spawn here if the defenders push up very, very hard. And you see how much of an aggressive position they want to take here on this cart. Actually, no, they're just going to back up here. So, I mean, it isn't that big of a deal for St. Clair. They do spawn like 50 meters from where this cart is, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal for them to push forward. Didn't lose too much
This is the rough
time.
spot, though.
And they have to try and push through this gateway, which is very, very tough.
Yeah, this is going to be brutal. It's going to be up to the ultimates. We do see OBL going to be starting things off with the ulti, but a good little transcendence there coming up from Arjunk to keep everybody topped off. So, going to answer back, and here we go once again.
Transcendence is popped, though. Not going to do any damage with that ult. Cheesy does find Cyber with the bang. Oh, does get the flashbang on Everlong as well. So 2 picks from G-Scale's going to get Injustice as well. That looks like this Zenyatta will go down here in just a second. A punch to the face from Apostle is going to take him out. Slater does find a pick, though. Finds another on the G-Scales. But Evil finally going to clean him up here. Tank's going to be fighting in the back line, but heal's going to come through. That will be St. Clair again pushing through here and able to get this out of the gateway, make some forward progress.
I mean, I know that Wrecking Ball's a hamster, but it just makes me think of getting punched in the face by a Yordle. That's just funny, but is that Rumble? But no, the wrong game. Wrong game banners. But anyway, this Streets phase has been basically blown right through. So not getting stuck like during the Bay State game, but maybe one last valiant effort here to stop on point 2.
2 rallies coming in from both sides here to start us off. Still quite a lot of time to push this one to the end here. That's going to be a Wrecking Ball ult coming through. A minefield they're going to have to try and walk through to get to this point. We'll delay them for a bit, but no picks coming through just yet. So we'll just be some chip damage, some ults being built up, at least for the moment until they can push back onto that point again.
Yeah, some briefest of stalls here, but here comes Apostle once again, diving right on through. Landing on more of the tanks, but actually G-Skills though, nice little follow-up.
G-Skills has been doing so well on this Sigma pick. He does get answered back there by Cyber and Slater, so it will be 2 picks apiece, and they will push forward and find the rest of the back line there. There will be a Zenyatta going down here, Apostle and Bailable working together to get that pick, but he'll have to try and get back to this point. They're going all the way back to his team. Can he stay alive here?
We living.
Yeah, he will. So we will get healed up here. So a couple of picks there, but importantly enough, G-Skills got them, but then went down early with the Zenyatta, and that really made the difference in that fight. Does mean they don't quite get this point. Still a lot of time available, but every second counts because Bryant and Stratton push through, and they still have almost 2.5 minutes. So St. Clair need to get somewhere relative to that, or else I feel like it's going to be very, very tough to try and win this one.
That was a really odd and rough spot there. Like the 2 Saints dove in on the Zenyatta. It's like, yes, guys, we got the Zenyatta. Guys, look behind and everybody's just dead. So it's like unfortunate that they weren't all on the same page here. But Apostle leading the charge once again right on Slater.
Slater still alive here. No, it will go down eventually there. Apostle with the pick early on. They will try and force this one onto the point. A pick did come through, so it definitely can be available. Transcendence can be popped here early on by Set. Arjunk still holding on to his Transcendence. Deadeye going to come through as well. A lot of ults being used just to try to stop this. 2.61 meters left, but Cheesy and Arjunk going to get the picks, and they will be able to force this one through in just a second.
Scrappy, but we do manage to get that second point with just under 3 minutes still left on the clock. Still very doable for Saints to maybe get themselves a 3 cap here. They do have to deal with some ultimates, though, as we do have Cyber's Minefield going to be slowing things down at any point, but Arjunk does still have the Transcendence for some emergency healing.
Slater does have Bob available as well. Arjunk goes down early. Minefield going to be popped on the point here. Proximity Mine's be doing a decent amount of damage to OBL. Going to be doing some damage himself too. Both supports down now for St. Clair. Does mean they will have to back off here in just a second, and they will.
I mean, low-key, not the worst thing that could have happened. Because, yes, now the minefield's gone. The only ultimates you're going to have to deal with from Bryant and Stratton is going to be probably a Pulse Bomb. You're going to have to deal with Bob, and you're going to or you're going to need to fight through a rally. So we'll have to see how the Saints end up doing with that one. But they have a rally for themselves. They have their own mines. They have their own healing, and probably their own Pulse Bomb. So lots on the floor for this fight.
Minefield slam going to be popped up here. A lot of damage done there, but he will be picked off. Apostle going a little bit too far forward. Will be taken down by that orb from Zenyatta. Everlong will find that pick. Available going to get one in the backline though. Gets Injustice with a bomb of his own, so it will be 5 apiece for both sides here. Can they push forward and try and get some progress? No, it will be stalled out for the moment. Again, I really feel like these Wrecking Balls are making it so hard to actually get a solid push through because there's so much disruption going down on both backlines. You can't even focus on the actual point.
Absolutely. You see the Transcendence coming out from both sides here. Little preemptively. Here comes the Flux on top of this. So lots of ults being blown before the actual main fight. And could mean that we're just going to have to result pretty much gun skill for this one.
Self-destruct is available here, and key is there's no big shield available. Yeah, it is actually available just now for Sigma. OBL going to get G-Skills there, and Cyber going to get 2 picks as well. And St. Clair's push will be stopped in its tracks yet again with just under a minute now left in this one.
Man, Bryant and Stratton just basically baited everything out they possibly could in regards to ultimate resources and still held the line firmly. And now with only one more push basically left in the tank here for St. Clair, even if they happen to get the 3 cap, they're going to have to do a perfect defense in overtime. That's even if they can get this 3 cap. It looks like Bryant and Stratton all set up and ready to go here, so it's going to be a tough wall to break.
Available does find the stick there, but not going to be enough to take out a Pulse. Immortality Field will be able to save his life for the moment here, so that bomb will not be very effective. Everlong will pop G-Skills out of the mech, but Arjunk will get Cyber here, so they will have a small advantage until Diva can get back in that mech if she can. Looks like Apostle going to be trying to make some room here to push forward off that Wrecking Ball. Now onto this Reinhardt. Can he keep us alive? Mech going to be followed up here for G-Scales. It's going to be a double kill actually for St. Clair. They will find 2. Zenyatta ult going to come through. Transcendence trying to stall at this point as long as possible. Just 2.19 meters left. Thanks so much to G-Scales going to find Slater in the back. They will get the Zenyatta as well. And that will be just trying to force everyone off the point. This Wrecking Ball going to be providing so much space. And there is so much time. There's no time left here on the map. They will get it. So 3 points achieved by St. Clair, but no time left on the clock. So this will have to be a perfect defense for them to try and save this game.
And honestly, good on the tanks on the side of St. Clair just to spread out that fight as much as possible. Both halves of Bryant Stratton are basically trying to fight on 2 fronts, which was definitely a rough spot to be in. And overall, like a good last-ditch effort there for St. Clair to bring this one to overtime to begin with. But now, like you said, perfect defense or nothing for the side of St. Clair. So there's really no chance of them winning this map, only losing. But if they can somehow get a perfect full hold with no ticks, they can at least scrap this one and send us to a game 3 still 0-1.
Yeah, still be a tie, so we'll still go further on in this series, but at least it's not a loss. And I really think the difference maker there was Apostle swapping over to the Reinhardt. He provided so much space and had a good shield, because the problem was, right, you had G-Skills on the Diva, you had Apostle on the Wrecking Ball. They didn't really have a good solid shield after he swapped off that Sigma to try and stop the Ashe. And once he picked up that Reinhardt, it meant that a lot of that front line, he couldn't really get those picks on the back line on Arjunk, onto Ubel specifically, and it allowed them to push forward that and just clean it up at the end. And it was crazy to me too. I was going to mention it. Bayable used that second last fight. Bayable used the ult and got the pick on Ubel, and then they went into the last fight and he had the ult again.
Yeah, he's just been absolutely farming that ult. I mean, Tracer's ult, as long as you're hitting something, comes pretty quickly, but doing an awesome job. And we got a sneak attack here from Apostle.
Does get stunned up though. Will be forced back way into the spawn. Bayable going to be on the back line as well, trying to clean up Ubel here. Slater going to go down very, very early though. Good start for St. Clair here. Cheesy going to find that pick, and they will slow it down. And I mean, you have 2 minutes to hold this one, so a lot of time here Bryant is trying to figure out what heroes they want to pick up, what they want to swap to, see if they can find something different here to try and make it work, because you have to have a perfect defense for St. Clair. They only need 1 pick, so if they can find that good comp, if they can find a good pick, it's going to be all over for St. Clair.
Yeah, the way they're trying to do this is with smoke and mirrors, and you get caught once, you're done. So we see Apostle diving in from the back line once again. Ubel for first kill.
Slater does get one back, though. Arjun going to go down as well. Ubel going to find an answer, though. Ubel with 2 picks here early, but OBL going to find Apostle. Will give them a small advantage to start us off here, and it's a long walk back from spawn to this defense.
Yep.
Yubel going to go down here with the anti-heal. That's going to be so much advantage here. First hit going to be coming down. No, GCL's going to get on the point. Will be contesting it, keeping this overtime alive, at least for the moment. Basically, all they have is just a second on point by themselves is what they need to try and take this one. Apostle going to pop the shield. Still staying alive here, but Slater going to clean up everyone else on the backside. So Apostle just going to be flying back and forth. The hamster not able to save it. Bryant Stratton go up 2-0.
Okay, the amount of disruption that OBL was doing on that diva, just constantly body blocking and pushing away Apostle in that last couple of moments was absolutely clutch to give him that last little bit, because he didn't die, he got taken down here. OBL gonna get credited as well with the play of the game as the heart of that classic grab dragon combo, and sort of seeing Cyber kind of pop up a little bit as well. But this is going to be the second game in a row here, going over to the side of Bryant and Stratton, and another close, well-fought game. Saints bringing it to overtime rounds, but did not have anything left in the time tank, and just could not get the full defense that they were looking for. Stalled time, but couldn't quite get enough of it.
Yeah, it was a very winnable game, and I think both of these games have actually been very, very close. I think both sides have fought pretty hard to get them, but I feel like just those small picks, those small refined victories that they end up getting are very meticulous, and it's very hard fought for Brian and Stratton to find them. But it's just a little bit of that extra mechanical skill that's giving them the edge in these games. So I think for St. Clair, yes, you are down 0-2. You are going to have to force a reverse sweep. But you say, okay, we definitely, both of these games, very, very winnable. Just small things we need to fix. Maybe think about a hero change here or there on the DPS side can make a huge difference. And it is 2-0. They are on match point, but definitely possible for St. Clair to come back in this one.
Mm-hmm. And then just in that last game, they played such a risky style there with how Bailable and Apostle were playing. Because, to be fair, they delayed a lot of time with the indecisiveness from BSC in regards to, do we turn on the tank, do we turn on Bailable, or do we just keep trying to push forward, even though they're still shooting us in the back? It's a fantastic play until somebody gets locked down or you force them to come to you. So eventually, and honestly, really quickly, so good on BSC, they just said, ignore them, just push the point and force them to come back to us. And then it was an even fight on all fronts. So it was a neat idea coming up from Saints. Did not quite work out. But with that, however, unless there's any final thoughts about game number 2, I think we have to be throwing this to a very, very quick commercial break.
Yeah, for sure. We'll be back at a break in a bit. St. Clair on the edge here of being eliminated from the playoffs, down 2-0, looking for the reverse sweep against BSC. Can they find it? You will find out in just a couple of minutes.
Has this ever happened to you? You tune in to watch Saints Gaming compete at your favorite title, but you end up missing it. Scrolling through Twitter to find results is just such a chore, and it looks like there's no easy way to find out everything you've missed. Luckily, there's a solution. Hi, Millie Bays here, and I'd like to introduce you to St. Clair's Bird's Eye View, the #1 show to keep up with everything about Saints Gaming. Get weekly recaps, see great highlights, hear exclusive interviews with players and staff, and so much more. That's Bird's Eye View, available in podcast or video form at a website near you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to game number 3 of our St. Clair Saints Overwatch action in the NECC playoffs. And, I mean, St. Clair down 2-0. It's definitely been a pretty competitive series for both sides. But I really think St. Clair are going to have to step up here in game number 3 to try and start this reverse sweep out on the right foot.
Absolutely. The scoreline doesn't do it justice in regards to how close the game has been. But that being said, Bryant and Stratton just been able to constantly find themselves in the better position to close things out. Of course, game 1, rather back and forth. Game 2 back and forth as well, but the Saints attack was just a little bit slower to the point where they had no time in the bank for some overtime rounds. BSC did, and they just had to get the one tick at the end, and that they absolutely did. And now we find ourselves on one of the most volatile maps, on one of the most volatile modes, of course, to Capture Point Volskaya Industries.
Yeah, I really feel like this is one of those really, really good defensive maps. I think that second point is arguably one of the hardest.
It's a nightmare.
One of the hardest points to take in all of Overwatch. It is so close to that defensive spawn. It's so easy to delay that one out. And I mean, really, this first point, if you can get a decent advantage, it's a very long walk to get back to it for the defenders. You can take it pretty early on, but that second point, it's just a nightmare.
Yeah, the big nightmare for Bryant Stratton, as they're going to be starting up on the attacking side, is usually the Archway. However, Available is opting for the Tracer, going to be playing more of that flanky DPS instead of the Mei, which could just straight up ice wall right on that that Archway. But to be fair, Cyber being on the Wrecking Ball would have just not cared about your ice wall anyway, so probably a smart pick on the side of St. Clair.
Yeah, and I really like today how much we've seen Apostle playing this Wrecking Ball. We typically see him on the main tank, and to be fair, he's played a lot of Reinhardt today, but I've seen him so much on this Wrecking Ball. It's a very different style for him to play, and I really think it's done well for him. I think he's had some pretty good pop-offs, gotten a lot of good picks on the backline, and served him pretty well so far.
And Saints kind of put themselves in a very awkward position, though. Mixture between the open area and inside the building. Nobody can really support each other here, and it's looking like Everlong and Slater are going to start things off strong for the side of BSC.
BSC find 2 picks. They pick up a third onto G-Scales as well. The main tank's down now for St. Clair. It does mean they will be cleared off at this point. They do get 3 ticks, though. Bryant and Stratton going to be taking pretty well advantage of St. Clair here. They're going to clean it up, and we're going to be moving to point number 2 here very, very early on. 6 minutes still for Bryant and Stratton.
And absolutely clean stuff coming out from BSC. Split the Saints and just absolutely pick them off like one at a time. And then, like you're saying prior to the attack happening, if the Saints on defense happen to fall, that's a long walk. Yeah. And at that point, this first one was going down. But of course, like we were also mentioning for the attack, this next point coming up here, this being so close to the spawn, is going to be so difficult for Bryant and Stratton to get captured unless they can do a complete team wipe.
They do have a couple ults available here. Both Transcendences available for both sides. That's going to be a Bob out very, very early, as well as both Transcendences. So a lot of invulnerability here on point for the second here. So Bob not going to be too effective to start us off here. They will get 1 tick already, though. And that's going to be pretty decent progress here to start us off. Arjan going to get a nice headshot on the Everlong, though. Does mean the point will be turned in their favor. They will get 2 ticks, and then meanwhile, Self-Destruct going to come out, see if he can catch anyone here. No, not going to catch anyone. Everlong still no ult usage here. Is decided to hold it for the moment. St. Clair will clear them off point, but it costs them 2 ticks, so this is going to be really tough to defend.
This is an absolutely brutal one. That attack from Bryant Stratton was just absolutely on point. Once again, just taking them down one by one, finding some small combos here and there, and able to finish the job with 2 ticks. You just need like one somewhat decent fight, and they're starting it right now here with OBL.
Oh, that flux was massive. It caught 3 people there. Apostle down to 70 will be taken out here in just a second here. Set going to find a couple picks as well. G-Scale is the last one alive, will be cleaned up off this point here. Can they get back on it? Slater going to take out Cheesy before he can even get anything stopped, and that's going to be 4:16 left for Bryant and Stratton on this one. St. Clair has that work cut out for them.
That is a remarkable time there from Bryant and Stratton. They are absolutely trying to speedrun this one with the way that one turned out. Just unfortunately here for St. Clair, I don't know how you even like break that one down on the fly. It just felt like they were never fighting as a cohesive unit, that they were always split up, and then OBL and the rest of the side of BSC have just been so strong at finding opportunities to punish those who aren't grouped up. And that triple flux there was absolutely critical as well there. OBL showing the amount of damage you can still do from the off-tank roll. To be fair, though, we did see G-Scales popping off a little bit on King's Row, but just the consistency right now here from OBL is absolutely nuts.
Yeah, and I think the key there was you separated the healers. It was just the 2 DPS and the 2 tanks over there, and OBL able to catch all of them with that flux was absolutely massive. Definitely the play of this game so far, but I mean, St. Clair, a lot of times still here it is. You have your attacking half still available to you. And if you can get an advantage early, we saw there really what it was Bryant and Stratton got that first point very, very early, and they had the ult available, right? So if you can spread out your ults, you can just keep forcing St. Clair to go onto that point. You can never get them all grouped together all at once, and they won't have ults available at the same time. So that was the difference makers. The fact that they got that attacking ground so quickly, they rolled into the second point, and St. Clair just didn't have any ults available to stop it or even slow it down and give them a chance to breathe.
Absolutely. Now taking a look at the team comps for this time by, looks like the Saints, they want to dive, but at the same time, Bryant Stratton, they are completely okay with returning to dive on top of you even. As we see Cyber already charging in on the Saints.
Slater swapped over to the Soldier here. Very interesting pick. Haven't seen that at all today, and that's going to be Cheesy on the Sombra. So a couple of different choices here for the DPS. DPS have seen a lot of different heroes.
It's nice to see, to be honest. Because, yeah, usually from metas like we're used to before, it's always the same thing over and over again. But it's nice that things are actually map specific, you know, like the way that Overwatch was meant to be played.
Yeah, Apostle going to get an early pick here, but Argent going to be traded out here to the second. That will be OBS stuck in this corner underneath the hood, trying to get out here. Going to do a decent amount of damage before he ends up getting mech'd here, but he will go down eventually anyway. Or he will get picked off. No, he's actually still staying alive somehow on this point. Apostle looking for some picks on the outside. G-Scale's going to take down OBL in the end, though, but will end up forcing out the VMAC here. Still alive, going to get some decent chip damage. Ooh, Bomb not going to make contact, though. Is taking this 1v1 with the DPS and is actually winning. The sleep going to come down on Apostle in the backside here. Going to take a nap. Hamster going to be sitting in his ball, taking a nap here for the moment. Everlong going to find Ubel in the meantime, but Cheesy with an answer back onto the Tracer. And, I mean, a lot of fighting, and it seems like St. Clair winning it for now, but they finally get some progress on this point. So, yes, they did end up winning the fight, but Bryant and Stratton actually could lead that for a very long time.
They really did there. We saw Set from the inside of the building just trying to keep OBL alive, shot after shot, but eventually the shots did end up getting blocked, did end up going down. It was like the slow descent there for the side of BSC. That being said, though, still another last-ditch effort coming out here from OBL, but looks like they are going to end up giving this one over. And Justice a little bit out of position, just going to send it into the point to get a quick respawn. But Everlong going down, but not without a fight.
There are a lot of ults available now, though. We see Arjunk going to have his available in just a second. G-Scales just wants to remech here for the respawn because he is going to have that ultimate available. And 6 ults for the side of St. Clair, all of them ready. We are going to see Bryant and Stratton almost 6 ults available. Just Everlong.
Brutal.
Everlong not going to have his, but he will get some chip damage here before the point starts up, and he will have that. So this is going to be a mess.
Oh, yeah. Good luck, Observer. Here we go. The engagement hops on in here, right on the high ground too, as if it couldn't be any messier.
They're pressing every single ultimate button in the game, and St. Clair going to come out on top with their own. Babel going to get the pick. Stick coming through on the Diva, not going to do very much. G-Scales going to find Set with the self-destruct as well. They will get some progress here, but after all the ults blown, still nothing being made. They get 1 tick to start us off. Self-destruct to come through. Obel actually going to find Ubel there on point, so it will be a little bit of a slower push here, and they will eventually stop St. Clair from taking this one. So in the end, ults didn't really mean too much. Everlong going to find one, and Justin's going to find another. So yeah, they will defend it. St. Clair going to be forced to back up here and get off of this point.
Okay, yeah, so everybody just dumped everything. But to be fair, at least Saints got the 1 tick. So
yeah,
1/3 of the battle already completed. But it's going to be another situation where even if they happen to get the full capture, they are going to be behind on time no matter what. We're already at the 3:45 mark, and we've seen BSC still sitting there with that 4:16. So they're going to have their work cut out for them on defense no matter what. But it's just a matter, is it going to be 1, 2, or like 3 more pushes for Saints to get this?
It's just funny watching Injustice walk around the back on there. He knows this Sombra is sitting somewhere back there, but doesn't know exactly where he is. Slayer actually going to go down here very early. Nice pick by Cheesy and Pulse teaming up to get that one. Everlong going to find Cheesy on the backside, though, will be answered back. Tracer going down for the side of Bryant and Stratton here, so it will be a small advantage for St. Clair. For the moment, they're going to have to try and take advantage of this very, very soon. They do end up getting this 1 tick here into the second. No, actually, they're going to get denied. There is still someone on this point. You're not quite there just yet. Slater and Everlong going to find picks of their own, and again, this point is so hard to take because the spawn is just so close.
Wow.
And they got 2 picks, but it's so hard to convert it because if you're not immediately getting onto that point and converting it into into a tick, you're not really going to make any progress.
Yeah, you need to dive the point and then burst anybody who's there. And to be fair, unless the Saints roster has like ultimates available, they really can't burst anything that well unless it's Discord orbs by Archunk. But of course, Zenyatta is rather squishy, can be taken out of the fight at a moment's notice. That being said, another bloodbath right around the corner. Here we go, Possible diving in.
Does have the ultimate available. Minefield going to come down, see what he can get here, forcing Set off of this one, but Liana will walk over to safety, jump off that ledge and survive. For the moment, Available going to get taken out here early by Injustice. Slater going to find Apostle, and St. Clair going to be stifled again here, not going to be able to push on the point and force it back up. So again, a really, really quick defense there. And I mean, they go for an early pick, but it just doesn't pay off. And it does force St. Clair back here. They're going to get Arjunk and Evil very, very late. It does mean they'll have to wait for those spawns to come through. And they're kind of scattering St. Clair right now.
Yeah, and Cheesy's not even in like a super safe position as of right now. Either does actually end up escaping here, so not too bad in that right. But Bryant Stratton, they had that defense quite nicely without any ult usage.
EMP
like at all.
and self-destruct is available here for St. Clair.
That
So
could
they're
be
going to be waiting for them to group up here. And they know they like to sit up on this ledge here. So I think Apostle going to go for a big slam. And then you send the EMP and the self-destruct all at the same time. Try and get that combo to come through, because that's really going to be very effective for St. Clair if they manage to coordinate that properly.
Got so much in the hands of Cheesy, but he's been exposed right now. The shots did fire off on him. Some ultimates coming through, but when does he opt to go? That is going to be like the green flag for them to dive on in.
This is going to be a little bit of chip damage here on Apostle. Going to back up here, but Injustice and OBL going to get a few picks. And again, St. Clair just can't seem to get a foothold on this point. Will get picked off here and will be forced to reset here. And just under a minute left. They're going to have one last push before this is over.
And once again, BSC, I've been preaching it all day, but they've been splitting up the Saints so well that they can't actually get their group team fight composition to really even do anything. Like, you both popped up the rally. You need to be grouped for that rally to be effective, and they're going to just dive on the Saints.
Nano, Winston here going to start us off, and Everlong Slater going to find picks really, really early on. The DPS doing so well here with Bryant and Stratton. Just 30 seconds remaining. Apostle going to find Cyber, though, so an answer comes back. They are going to find Everlong as well, so Apostle doing a lot of the legwork here, trying to get an advantage back, but 24 seconds left. They're going to have to try and push this point. Available going to sneak around, look for that overtime. And again, you're going to have to find this EMP self-destruct combo in order to take this point, because if you don't land that perfectly, I really just don't think St. Clair can keep their playoff hopes alive.
And they have to actually follow up on this. Where is Cheesy right now? That is going to be the main man to watch in this situation. On points, ready to go, but he needs to let his team in. EMP comes out, but it doesn't get anybody.
And they don't even get the point. They don't get an overtime, and they don't get any more chances in this playoffs. That is going to be it. BSC take it, a 3-0 sweep, well fought by St. Clair, but BSC just the better team on the day.
Just the positioning and the amount of body blocking, the Stonewall style coming out from Bryant Stratton just in general, being able to like really making the tanks work and then just let everybody else go absolutely nuts. Honestly, like, very interesting play style. I loved what we saw out of Bryant Stratton. GG's all around. A well-fought match there for St. Clair, but the style that came out of Bryant Stratton was just different, to say the least.
Yeah, for sure. And I gotta say, I think Babel had such a good game today. He had so many good picks with that Tracer caused so much destruction in the back line. I think St. Clair had a pretty good game, but I really just think Brian and Stratton came in with the game plan, and we saw it especially on those last two games where they split up what St. Clair wanted to do, and they didn't allow those synergized ults to come through like they did in that first map. So I think really good game plan, really good coaching response, really good strategy by Brian and Stratton to win this one. And I mean, for St. Clair, it is their last Overwatch league that they're in, I believe.
From what I understand, yeah, I believe you're correct.
So, yeah, that's going to be the last we're going to see of them this season. And I mean, you want to talk about how you felt their season went and what they had to look forward to maybe in second semester.
I mean, it was definitely an interesting set of ups and downs. Of course, the roster shuffle midway through definitely didn't assist with anything, but giving the conditions, like having Ubel come in, joining the rest of the squad, and like figuring out where exactly he fit in, because initially he was meant to be like a DPS main, but obviously like went on over to the support role. And to be fair, I feel like alongside of him and Arjunk, they paired up quite nicely, to be fair. And I think there is definitely going into this next semester, like, give them some more time together and they will flourish more. Because I do think like the DPS combo of Available and Cheesy is still absolutely fantastic. You can tell the gears are turning with the plays they wanted to make, but just BSC did a very good job of stopping it. And with the tank line as well, like Apostle and G-Scales, especially, like I was saying that G-Scales for the most part had like a really quiet season, did what he needed to do, but like no real like major pop-offs. That game too, he was going absolutely nuts.
Yeah, for sure.
Then it's interesting seeing Apostle picking up something more than just Reinhardt. And like you can tell that there's something like strategically happening there. The gears are turning. Just give them more time. And I mean, there's going to be other seasons like going through the winter. So this may be all we see for Overwatch right now, but definitely not for the long term. We'll be back very shortly.
Yeah, for sure. And I think they still did relatively well in the season. They did end up placing 5th to 8th. And I mean, all respect to them. I think they played a really, really good series. And yes, it was a 3-0 sweep. But I think even in this game, even the last couple of weeks, you could see how much they've improved. And that map number 1 definitely could have gone their way. Just a couple of small mistakes made the difference. But again, all credit to the Bobcats. They played such a good series, played such refined Overwatch, especially in that second game and third game. And they just outclassed St. Clair in this one. They're moving forward in the NECC playoff bracket.
It was just so frustrating too, because you could even see like that last play there.
Yeah.
Like you could tell what they wanted to do. The Saints wanted to dive on in onto point, get all of BSC to come onto them, EMP.
Yeah.
The trap was there, but they got stuck. Just the tank line there from Bryant Stratton, just like a I don't know, we call like a linebacker almost of a football team, just constantly like pushing it to the side. Like, no, you're not going through this. You're not going towards the spot you want to go to, and it forced Cheesy to then come to them, which in turn gave up the point. And even if the EMP came off, it wasn't going to be as valuable as they were going to be hoping for. So, like Bryant Stratton just, like you were saying, just outclassing just on another level. But I'm still happy to see like the strategies in mind there from St. Clair. Just a little bit more time. Next season.
Yeah, next season.
We'll come back with fury.
So that is going to be it. St. Clair goes down 5th to 8th in the NECC playoff bracket. The Bobcats move on. Good luck to them in their future endeavors moving through this playoffs. We'll definitely be watching on the NECC channels to see how they do. But that is going to be it for us. Want to thank our sponsors, though, before we go. Specifically, Crunchyroll, the new sponsor we have this year. Definitely have been very thankful that they've come on board in the stream and have sponsored us, so you can get a 14-day premium trial for free at crunchyroll.com/saints. Go check it out. Essentially the Netflix of anime. For all your anime needs, go check them out, crunchyroll.com/saints. Want to thank all our other sponsors as well: Tim Hortons, Subway, the SRC, and the St. Clair College Alumni Association. Thank you all for contributing. And yeah, talk about the merch as well, I guess.
Well, of course, gotta bring it up. We might not be wearing it right here today, but it doesn't mean it isn't.
I got the mask. I'm wearing it.
You've got the mask. Okay, it's never mind. I should speak for myself then, apparently. So yeah, with the Saints merch, of course, the dark mode, as we've been referring to it as for the longest time, we've always been the white, green, and orange, but this black, green, yellow style has just been absolutely taken off.
It. It's cool.
You want to pick some up for yourself. Bunch of different types of apparel available down at acquire.ca/Saints. Place your order, get it in before Christmas while you can, and come help us support the Saints, as some of them still going through playoff seasons or going into the next new season coming up in the winter. Come support in style. Maybe even come support live in the arena eventually in new style. Of course, that's
going to be fun.
A little bit around the corner, February, March, possibly, from what I understand. So lots of exciting things coming up, and also still to come up here. We're technically not done with NECC playoffs. Valorant is happening next week on Monday, and then tomorrow we get to see our League of Legends team in action in NECC playoffs. The quarterfinals for that one as well, if I do recall correctly.
Yep.
And that is going to be up against Grandview JV, which is a team
That's
that we have beat
That's
before, but it was a bloodbath.
It was crazy. That was a crazy series. That's going to be fun.
Looking forward to seeing that one tomorrow. I think, from what I understand, you'll be on the mic with Josh Bafundi, so it should be an exciting one nonetheless. Very, very quickly, I also do want to give a couple of thank yous as well. First off, John, thank you for commentating so much over the last couple of weeks.
It's been fun.
I'm glad you enjoy it, because we have definitely had some hype moments and definitely some stops. So yeah. Fair enough there. Also, big thank you to our observer Ashton for coming out, basically trying to be the one-man observer show regardless of which game it is as of late. So thank you, Ashton, for coming in and helping out. Big time there. And then, of course, to Jackson Deprived Brown, not in front of the mic or on the camera this time. I said that backwards, but you know what I mean. But in the director's chair. So big thank you to him for running the show here for us tonight.
Yeah, that's going to be it, though. St. Clair will go down. We'll see League of Legends action tomorrow. You can catch at 6 p.m.
Yep.
And then Saturday, we're going to have, I believe at 12 it starts, we're going to have Call of Duty.
It's going to be a beautiful
and Rocket
mess.
League as well. So it's going to be a lot of playoff action. You're going to want to be here cheering your St. Clair Saints on and encouraging them. It is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Very competitive action. So, I mean, NECC Star League, first season of NECC Star League, so it's going to be interesting for sure. But that's going to be it for us today. Thank you all for joining us. Hope you have a wonderful night. John, Bill Bang, Sudima, Dan, Mr. Danner's Banner, and we'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. for some League of Legends action. Until then, stay safe and love each other. Doing quite a bit of damage with Doomfist coming out here as well, so a lot of changes across the board for both of these teams because, I mean, it is a very different map. They're playing here Everlong, and they have the first pick on Apostle, though, and this could be a cascade for them to try and take this first point.
Yeah, they even had the Shatter on top of it, and that is going to seal the deal. Cyber.
That's going to be a double tire kill for Available. He's going to find one, but there's a couple picks for Slater here. Stratton's not going to come through for this tank here, and they will find it, so they will flip the point here in just a second. Self-Truck going to come out there. Won't catch anyone though, and that will be a point flipped here as soon as this Doomfist gets taken down. But no, he finds another pick Available, another double tire kill here. Evil going to get one as well. Still traded out though. A lot of kills going across here for Bryant and Stratton. They're going to try and push onto this point here in just a second. It is now 2v2. Available going to get a decent amount of damage. This is going to be close. They will get the touch on point here in just a second. If Evil can touch it, will he get it? Yes, he will. They'll go to OT, but he's going to be able to clear the deal on that one. And this one we saw Slater delaying that point for so long. It robbed them of 30-40%. The fact that he was able to stay on there. And I mean, game 3, I'm looking for one of these to step up, and that's going to be St. Clair already on this point and getting 3 early picks. Cheesy going to find another onto Slater, the Doomfist, beating out that Doomfist. That's going to be St. Clair.
Double main tank style. But for a little while there, we had both Winston and Reinhardt on the side of St. Clair. G-Scales, I've never really seen him play Winston. He did have an okay Primal Rage, but that's going to be a huge bunny shatter.
That's a huge shatter there. Stick gonna find one as well, but Everlong with 2 kills on that.
We see right now BSC moving in for possibly a little bit of percent on that one.
Oh, Cheesy goes down there to Everlong though. That is very, very dangerous. That's already going to be an ultimate here. A Blizzard coming out onto this point to try and stall it for a little bit here to keep everyone else off of that one. Apostle going to find one, but a couple of answers here for Bryant and Stratton. Going to keep his team alive, and they will stop this push, at least for the moment.
Yeah, some desperation kind of coming out here from BSC, but that being said, they are finding themselves on the right side of kill feed as of right now. Cyber with another double.
They will clean up everybody here. Just a couple members of St. Clair left alive. That's going to be it taken down. They will have
right here as Apostle tries to dive on this net and is actually going to go down. Apostle to follow up though, or not be able to follow up.
They do find the trade there. It is going to be 5-5. Trade's going to come out across the board as well. 2 more can be found for both sides. A little bit of damage in this corridor here being put down. G-Scale's going to find Injustice as well, but Dynamite got available there, so from G-Scale's going to get Injustice as well. That looks like this Zenyatta will go down here in a second. A punch to the face from Apostle is going to take him out. Slater does find a pick though. Finds another on the G-Scales, but people finally going to clean him up here. Tank's going to be fighting in the back line. The heal's going to come through. That will be St. Clair again, pushing through here and able to get this out of the gateway. Make some forward progress. Pick did come through, so it definitely can be available. Transcendence going to be popped here early on by Set. Arjunk's still holding on to his Transcendence. Deadeye going to come through as well. A lot of ults being used just to try to stop this. 2.61 meters left, but Cheesy and Arjunk going to get the fix, and they will be able to force this one through in just a second.
Scrappy, but we do manage to get
G-Scales. It's going to be a double kill action for St. Clair. They will find 2. Zenyatta ult going to come through. Transcendence trying to stall this one as long as possible. Just 2.19 meters left. This next one, G-Scales going to find Slater in the back. They will get the Zenyatta as well. And that will be just trying to force everyone off point. This Wrecking Ball going to be providing so much space. And there is so much time. There's no time left here on the map. They will get it.
One by one, finding some small combos here and there and able to finish the job with 2 ticks. You just need like one somewhat decent fight, and they're starting it right now here with OBL.
Oh, that flux was massive. It caught 3 people there. Apostle down to 70 will be taken out here in just a second here. Set gonna find a couple.
Really did there. We saw Set from the inside of the building just trying to keep OBL alive, shot after shot, but eventually the shots did end up getting blocked, did end up going down. It was like the slow descent there for the side of BSC. That being said, though, still another last-ditch effort coming out here from OBL, but looks like they are going to end up giving this one over.
As well, they will get some progress here, but after all the ults blown, still nothing being made. They get 1 tick to start us off. Self-Destruct to come through. Obel actually going to find Jubal there on point, so it will be a little bit of a slower push here, and they will eventually stop St. Clair from taking this one. So in the end, ults didn't really need too much. Everyone going to combo in order to take this point, because if you don't land that perfectly, I really just don't think St. Clair can keep their playoff hopes alive.
And they have to actually follow up on this. Where is Cheesy right now? That is going to be the main man to watch in this situation. On points, ready to go, but he needs to let his team in. EMP comes out, but it doesn't get anybody!
And they don't even get the